Round number 2 of the 2024 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series heads to Florida, Palaca, where we will battle the Sand Whoops for a solid 2 hours of racing, as well as the Palmettos that reach up and grab you. Of course, Bryson Neal coming off the sensational win at Big Buck. Can he repeat that performance here today? Saw some great racing out of Josh Merritt and Walker Fowler as well. It all starts right here, right now on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go? GNCC Racing!
Hello and welcome to round number 2 of the 2024 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. We are here in Palaca, Florida for the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC. Mikey Wayne's here and I'll be taking you through today's racing action. How about that shot right there? Of course, we begin with the Specialized race recap, round number 1. Up in South Carolina, the Big Buck GNCC. Great start for Jared McClure. Boy, as this race wore on, it was the Bidwell Bullet. Bryson Neal finding himself out front and, quite frankly, just never looking back. As the race wore on, Jared McClure hanging with those guys. Josh Merritt as well in that top 3. McClure had a great race going early. The day didn't go exactly as he wanted, but certainly some things to build on as we head into round number 2. See Bryson Neal working around the lap traffic right there. I got to give a shout out to Josh Merritt, a man who has just steadily improved in his pro career. And boy, opening up the season with a podium performance, that is absolutely where you want to be if you're Josh Merritt. There's no doubt about that. Walker Fowler, obviously, that front grab bar, a little banged up, but nonetheless a podium performance for Walker Fowler. But that man right there, the Bidwell Bullet, picking up where he left off in 2023, wrapping up that national championship, coming in here to 2024, and boy, laying the foundation for what may be another championship season. Look at that top 10. It was Neal, Merritt, Fowler, McGill with a sensational day at top 5, and Hunter Hart rounding out the top 5.
I was expecting a 5-lap race whenever I biked the track yesterday, especially where we're not going all the way down to that super green lush section that we always hit, that bottom and the far end. So in my head, I was like, it's going to be a 5-lap race going into it. Whenever I saw the white flag, I was like, you know, I was just checking myself. So nothing to do with anything, just kind of just seeing where I was at on time. And then I was thinking about fuel as well. So, but hey, I'm sorry, Dan, on the start, Lonnie and Brandon. My bad. I'll get it back next round.
All right, so we fast forward to today, the XC1 class off and rolling, and Canati Tires whole shot award up for grabs. Boy, the Bidwell Bullet, a good drive out in front. Oh, but no, it is going to be Walker Fowler, the 723, sneaking up in there and grabbing that whole shot. Boy, I got to think, this is exactly where you want to be right now if you're Walker Fowler. Out in front, leading the way. He's going to be able to play some, do some defensive riding, maybe keep Bidwell Bullet at bay for a little bit. We'll see how it plays out, but right now the 7-2-3 of Walker Fowler in control. It is Bryson Neal in the number 2 spot, and in the number 3 spot, got to be Hunter Hart on the charge as the rest of the XC1 class coming through now. See Adam McGill back there, and boy, gonna be a good race day here if we've got the 2 heavy hitters out in front. You know what? Do it. Throw Hunter Hart in that mix. Coming off a 5th place finish, you know he wants to have a big day here today. We take a look at the XC2 B&R Motorsports Whole Shot Award up for grabs. Ooh, going wide right there, gonna cost him. Unable to snag that whole shot. Boy, the XC2 been a fun one to watch. Alex Tiemann coming off a big win in round number 1, where Grayson Eller took a 2nd place and James Glada took a 3rd place in that one. Some other names, Braxton Gross out there, Dylan Walraven, Alex Elioff, absolutely stacked XC2 class this year. And we know, hey, we're going to have a new champion this season as Stephen Harrell moving up into the XC1 class. So we will have a new champ out of that XC2. And as I mentioned, the list keeps going. You got Kenny Schick out there, Dalton Keys. Some heavy hitters in the XC2 class. Just really excited to see how that one continues to develop as this season goes on. But here in Florida, look out. Mud Fleas letting them know that's the line you want right there. Boy, there is just no sand, quite like the black sand of Palatka. Here we go with the XC1 now. It is still Walker Fowler out in front, trying to keep that machine as clean as possible, picking their lines methodically. Everybody pretty well single file through this section, as it is still B. Neal in the 2 spot with Hunter Hart in 3rd. Nobody pushing. Oh, there we go. Now we're going outside. Didn't do any good, though. That's all right. We'll take it. 7-1-2, trying things out. John Glada trying to make it happen, and Jared McClure, in the back of the pack, got a lot of work cut out for him, but we are off and rolling in Palatka, Florida. It's Walker Fowler leading the way, Bryson Neal in the 2 spot, and Hunter Hart in 3rd. We'll have more right after this. Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC here on Racer TV. Well, Walker Fowler prepared, poised for today. Talking shop a little bit there with Hunter Hart and Jackson Burrell. Actually, had a chance to catch up with Walker Fowler.
So we're here with Walker Fowler. Walker, after coming off a 3rd place there in round number 1, how do you feel coming into round number 2?
I mean, confident. Obviously, I thought I was riding around 4th half of that race at the end. Came back from dead last after about the first mile. I put it up against a tree, so fought my way through, and I felt physically fit and everything. And obviously, Florida is the most physically demanding track we have on the circuit besides snowshoe. And obviously, bike preparation. I'm one of the few guys that gets to come down and spend all winter in Florida. So I won 8 prior years to last year. Obviously, last year missing due to injury. So technically, I still feel undefeated. I know Johnny Gallagher had talked about that earlier this week on a post, but no pressure. I'm just going to go have fun, ride my wheeler around, and see what happens.
All right, Walker. Well, how do you feel about the sand?
I love the sand, man. Short legs just really do good in the sand.
Well, there you go. From the horse's mouth, if you will, Walker Fowler leading this one out in front of Bryson Neal. And, boy, there's just no doubt about it. He has his hands full. Walker Fowler, so much in question last season coming off of that injury, has got a nice battle here. Josh Merritt in the 3 spot, trying to hold off Hunter Hart. So how about this for Merritt? Merritt said, hey, I got a taste of the podium and I want more. And here is, look at the sand whoops. This is what we're talking about. That does it. Actually doing a little bit of justice here just to how gnarly it is to race down in Florida. But again, back to Walker Fowler. There were so many question marks about him going into the 2023 season of not just will he be competitive again, but will he race again? Well, we knew at Snowshoe, all right, he can throw his leg over the machine, he can come out and he can race, and he can do pretty well. And then the podium happened. And then the win happened. And it was just one of those things where I know people can say all they want, hey, Bryson Neal didn't have a good day. He had a mechanical that day when Walker got the win. That's true, but racing's racing. Walker Fowler, 2nd all-time on the wins list behind Chris Borich. And if you were to ask Walker himself, hey, was every single one of those just a straight-up battle with somebody, he's going to say no. So sometimes you win given a circumstance that was out of your control. That's not Walker's problem. Bryson's had wins where a similar situation has happened to another rider as well. Any guy who's won an overall is going to tell you that. But the bottom line is what we learned by the end of the 2023 season is that man, Walker Fowler, is back. He is capable. He is more than capable of contending for wins and contending for a national championship. Unfortunately, number 1, the defending champion, has got all this momentum into 2024. That is Bryson Neal, and that is Neal in the number 2 spot behind Walker Fowler in the 1 spot. So right now, we got a little catbird action, if you will. Bryson Neal wants to take some notes. What lines are you taking, Walker Fowler? Walker Fowler, he wants to run away. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know that either one of these guys are going to be able to run away from each other this year. Getting the pointers from some of the mechanics down there, keeping their eyes on these guys as they thread the needle through here. And just a gnarly, gnarly track. Had a lot of rain going into the Florida round, and not so much on race weekend. But, boy, the damage was done, if you will. And how about it for Josh Merritt, still in that number 3 spot? And, oh, he was! How about the pass right there in front of the fans by Hunter Hart? And they kind of threw their hands up like, sorry, Josh, we thought we had the good line. But Hunter Hart says you don't. So Hunter Hart, with authority, takes back that number 3 position as here comes Adam McGill now. And both of these, Adam having fun looking over at the race fans down there. I couldn't tell. I think that might have been Brian Buchanan's kids. I'd have to double check, but I want to give them a shout out if it is. If it's not, sorry kids, I'll pick up who you are in a moment. But boy, great racing right here. Glotta up into the mix. As is Jared McClure. And waiting on the rest of this XC1 pack now. Just absolutely gruesome through there. As these guys pretty well. There you go. There we got some throttle. Now we're feeling a little bit of pressure. Don't want to give up the pass in this section. But these mud holes, they change throughout the race. You hear Johnny Gallagher talk about it on race day. A line that is there early in the race doesn't necessarily mean you're not just going to absolutely lose the bike or the ATV in it once you get into that second hour. Here we go with the leaders. Fowler out in front. Neal in the number 2 spot as he tries to keep pursuit a good position if you're Bryson Neal. And Walker Fowler, it's a season success measured by inches, centimeters, whatever cliche you want to use. But when you think about it, B. Neal, round 1, a first-place finish. Walker Fowler, a third-place finish. So it's one of those things where you start looking as the season progresses of where could I have done better? Where could I put myself in a better position for that championship run? Walker Fowler, a champion who knows what it takes, and he knows every position is important. So Walker Fowler, hey, first and foremost, you got to finish in front of the number 1 of Bryson Neal. He's got that right now with the first place. And, boy, if he can get some help, if B. Neal finishes 3rd, 4th, that's only going to help the case of Walker Fowler. And then if you're Bryson Neal, right now you're kind of playing, I won't say with house money, but you've got confidence. You have the points lead. You know where Walker finished. Good racing right here. In round 1, you're still in control. There's no reason to panic. I bring that up. Oh, as both riders look like they missed the line right there. Walker does the right thing, whipped that machine around and got back on the track. No advantage gained by either guy, but boy, a mistake, a costly mistake right there by Walker Fowler. And it happens. If you saw on the Yamaha Racing Live drone, you had the red and white banner there, the candy stripe, if you will, cannot go through that section. Walker doing the right thing, correcting himself, coming back, but it does cost him a position as B. Neal is your new leader. What can the number 1 Phoenix Racing Yamaha do with clean air out in front now? As now the 723 of Walker Fowler will have to try and keep pace with Bryson Neal. So now the script is flipped. Now there is certainly a sense of urgency out of Walker Fowler, as is the number 2 of Hunter Hart, who tries to catch back up with those guys. And here is Josh Merritt still having a sensational ride, trying to get back up in that fight with Hunter Hart for that final podium position. It's one of those things. Look at the battle right here. Look at the battle, the 723. Or excuse me, no, this is the battle. Okay, there's Adam McGill trying to get back in the fight. So there's battles everywhere. Everybody's got the fly gear on. That was my mistake. Except for B. Neal out in front, rocking the moose gear. The number 1 machine all by his lonesome right now. We pan back. We look for the 723 of Walker Fowler. And now we have ourselves a time gap. Walker Fowler moving through now. The 723 machine trying to keep pace. Bryson Neal, and boy, Bryson Neal just so good when he can get out front. And riders slowly starting to get into some of that lap traffic. Right here is Hunter Hart, and that should be Josh Merritt. Merritt looks like he's picked up some time. Both of those guys rocking the fly gear, but can't miss Hunter. Keeps the microfiber claws hanging out of the backside of his pants there. I think I'm almost positive he just does that, for me, so I can figure out who he is. No, that's not true. That's not true at all, but it works for him, so we'll take it. XC1 now inching their way up toward that final podium position. Trying to get in the fight is the rest of the XC1 class. And into the GBC Power Sport Tires pit stop. It is B. Neal in and out as we are watching from the Walker Fowler pits, waiting on Fowler to turn the corner. There he is, Mark Knopman with the IMS quick fill in the air, letting Walker know we're ready for you, buddy. Goggles are off, getting refueled, getting rehydrated. A new pair of goggles. And he's back to the races. But boy, Bryson Neal in and out of the pits. Before we saw Walker Fowler entering them. And there is Bryson Neal, that signature water bottle hanging from his mouth. I joke about it. He will have that in there for the next hour. I don't know how. He just does it. I don't know that your dentist is going to like that, but you know what? He's got pearly whites, so we'll just run with it. We'll just run with it. Walker Fowler still in that 2 position. Hunter Hart takes a pit stop, and he is still in 3rd place. Hunter Hart, boy, just if you're Hunter Hart after round 1, you just got to be thinking, let me get a podium. I need to get out here, get a podium, get this turned around quick before things begin to unravel. And if you're Josh Merritt, we got to give him some credit here. Josh Merritt really turning it on in round number 1, a very, very convincing podium finish. Don't call it a fluke. I mean, a 2nd place in between Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler. He challenged both of them. There were some huge leaps forward in the pro career of Josh Merritt in round 1, and we're seeing more of that here in round number 2. Different scenario, nonetheless, he's in the fight. Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal leads the way out in front. Can he hang on and stay perfect here in 2024? We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC here on RacerTV.com. B. Neal, Bryson Neal leading the way out in front on the number 1. Phoenix Racing Yamaha. Walker Fowler, the 723 Yamaha, in that number 2 spot, trying to keep pace. There's been some back and forth. A little mistake by Walker Fowler earlier in this one. Had to basically pull the old U-turn and get back on the track. Did the right thing. No harm, no foul. But nonetheless, that's where we stand. Hunter Hart still under fire by Josh Merritt in that number 4 position. Merritt, you want that podium as Bryson Neal checks in for the checkered flag and the win here today. So the Bidwell Bullet stays perfect to start the season.
Man, that was a demanding track. It was way wetter, way muddier than I ever thought it was going to be going into the day. Man, the bottoms coming into the finish line right here was absolutely crazy. Some deep, just mucky black gush. Really just sucked the bike down. Had some really good racing out there. The track over there on that side was awesome. Good sand whoops, good flow, but man, whenever it was bad in those ruts, it was nasty. So this was definitely one to remember this year.
And here comes Walker Fowler. The 723 will take a 2nd place finish today. Walker wanted that win, but nonetheless, solid day of racing for him.
He picked the pace up. I latched on for about 3 miles, and I got stuck on top of a big silt berm. had to break through a banner, turn around, get back on the track, and I literally blew the next corner too. And I was like, all right, reset. Like, you made it to the second lap, but just was riding tight. And man, I just kind of got in no man's land, that 20-30 second gap, and just got stuck there. I could run his pace, but I lost all that time the second lap. But I mean, overall, I'm happy, healthy. Enjoying racing, and man, it's fun to be out here and at least compete. You know, I didn't get beat by 4 minutes.
All right, we take a look at the top 10. Bryson Neal will take the win. Fowler with a second-place finish, and Hunter Hart a third place. You know Hunter wants those wins, but boy, after the round one of top 5 finish, got to feel good.
I'm
about
pumped
a
on
podium.
this. You know, this was a big one for me. You know, especially after how round one went for me. Just to be there and be in my own fight at the end. And yeah, hey, let's go to Georgia. You know, let's like Walker said, I hope it rains. I hope it pours. You know, I'm probably just as excited as he is for a mutter, if not more.
All right, we take a look at the point standings, and it is going to be Bryson Neal, a perfect 2 for 2 to start the year. That has got him with quite the points advantage early in this one. Fowler moves to the second place spot, and how about it, Merritt? A third in the point standings. We take a look now at the Specialized race recap. Boy, this one looked like it was going to be Bryson Neal, but boom! There goes a 723 of Walker Fowler, edging him out for that Canati Tires Whole Shot Award. Solid start for him, and saw some great battles between Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler. Walker Fowler leading it early, had a little mistake there. Went outside of a line, did the right thing, pulled the U-turn, got back on the track. But, of course, it ends up costing him a position. Very, very costly mistake right there. You see it. Whoops-a-daisy. He said, I can't take that line. Got to turn around, get back on track. And then from there, boy, the Bidwell bullet. Bryson Neal goes to work. That signature water bottle hanging out of his mouth. Not letting go of it, staying hydrated, and bringing it home for the win. Walker Fowler kind of settling into that number 2 spot today. I got to think, though, Walker Fowler, the beast is awakening in Walker Fowler. The podiums, yeah, they're good. You know, that might have felt real good for Walker Fowler at the end of last year, but not so much as we enter this season. He's going to want some wins. But nonetheless, there you go, your top 3. B. Neal, Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart. That's going to wrap things up for us. There'll be more on RacerTV.com. Stay tuned for all recap episodes for the ATV and the two-wheel side. In the meantime, I'm Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.